It's October 4th and it is time to do the final inspection of the year. The weather here has definitely taken a turn for the colder. It's still about low 70s out there today, but looking at the forecast in the next week or so, we're going to get down consistently to mid 60s. And so I've got to take some steps now to help the bees get ready for the winter. The first thing I have to do today during this last inspection is I've got to open it up quickly. I've got to open the hive up quickly, and I've got to get the formic acid strips out. They've now been on for 7 days and it's time to take them off. That's the mite treatment, and it should be done. I do need to move quickly because I don't want them to lose too much heat. And speaking of heat, that takes me to the next thing that I have to do. I'm going to be first wrapping the hive in tar paper. And then once that tar paper is in place, I'm going to put in some insulation that I have built. Let me just quickly show you what that insulation looks like. It's this box that I've made. This is designed to just slide onto the hive, and then I'm going to use some washers and screws to just mount it on each side so that it doesn't slide down. So that'll go around the tar paper. This is just made out of 2-inch foam insulation that I got at Home Depot. And then because this really isn't designed to be outside and it breaks down in the sun, I painted it. I just used whatever paint I had, whatever exterior paint I had, which just happened to be white. And that paint is really just to protect the foam from breaking down. I didn't paint the inside because it's not going to see the sun. What I used to glue it together is just some of that spray foam. I'll grab it here really quickly and just show you. I just used this Gaps and Cracks great stuff, the expandable spray foam, and that is all I used to glue these pieces together. It seems to have worked pretty well. So that will go on, and that will provide some warmth to the hive. But when it's cold outside and warm inside, condensation happens. And so I have to be aware of that. I have to make sure that the hive does not get too wet inside during the winter because of the condensation. And how do you control that? You control the ventilation of the hive. Now, last week I put on a solid bottom board to help contain heat. But that solid bottom board reduces ventilation. And if I just leave the exterior cover on top as it is now, I'm afraid it's going to get way too humid in there. So there is something that you can do to provide adequate ventilation through the winter. There's something called a Vivaldi box, and you can spend money and buy a Vivaldi box. But as I was looking at it, I was like, well, that's just a frame with some holes in it that you put underneath your outer cover. I think I can build that. And so what I did is I just got some scrap lumber that I have, as you see over in my corner of my garage, and I just measured out this box. This is going to sit on top of the inner cover, under the outer cover, and the inner cover has that hole that I've always smoked down in through. And that is, if you look at a Vivaldi box, it's got basically just an inner cover with a hole. And well, I've already got an inner cover. So I just made this little frame and I drilled holes in the side. So, in 2 sides. So that will allow air to flow through and hopefully keep it adequately ventilated so that the condensation doesn't build up too badly. But it's not just going to be that. I'm going to put this wadded up burlap bag on top of the inner cover, and that will help wick the moisture out while also providing a little bit more protection from any winds blowing through on the top. So this bag will wick the moisture out. That's the theory. And then the wind will blow through the bag, take off the moisture, but the bag will also prevent wind from blowing down into the hive and chilling the hive. So I've got a lot I've got to get done today. I'm just gonna put this camera on time lapse and you'll see me do it all more quickly than I actually do. Well, it's kind of hard to believe that this portion of my first year as a beekeeper is coming to a close. Now I just hope that I've done right by the bees and that I've done what is needed to help them get through the winter. The honey's a nice bonus, but really I have a responsibility to those bees. I welcomed them into my yard, and I've taken honey from them. And so I'm hoping that I have done right by them and that they're ready to go for the winter. I will be doing a couple more things. I'm gonna give them a good dose of heavy winter syrup, supplemental feed, and just to give them that little bit of boost. And then I'll check them through the winter every now and then, just kind of lifting off the top, looking down in quickly through the holes that are there to see if everything sounds and looks good. But I'm really hoping that I've done this okay and that come next spring they're going to be there happy and healthy and ready to go. Yeah, the hive is essentially closed now.